This is the Give and Remove Access campaign that we deliver with every Memberium membership site we build. This is definitely the case with the perfect starter kit that we've installed into your environment. So we have 3 trigger tags to give access, and we have 3 trigger tags to remove access. When someone needs to be given access, whether it's being given for free because it's a test account or it's an internal user, we always use this sequence. If it's an opt-in, it uses this sequence. If there's a purchase, we use this sequence. We concentrate all the workflow that's related to giving access in one place, and there's a number of good reasons for doing that. First of all, if there's ever an error, we know exactly where to look. It can only be in one place. The other thing is, if we want to make modifications, changes to the way messages are sent out, if there's a little addition we want to make to it, we go to one place, and then every place in your Infusionsoft campaign that needs to give access will inherit that. You don't have to wonder if it's going to work. So how does this work? You trigger the give and remove, the give level 1 access. All of these work exactly the same. As I showed you in one of the other videos, we always remove it. It's just good practice. See the other video for an explanation. And then what do? We assign the Memberium tag. This is the one that tells Memberium, hey, this person is authorized. And then what we do is we trigger send a welcome message. Now, the reason we've done this in a different sequence is because sometimes you want to send only the welcome message by itself. So it gives you some flexibility. Follow our lead. It may look a little more complicated, but it'll actually save you work in the long term. So here we are. We trigger the send welcome message. We remove it here. And then here is how we set the Memberium password. Now, one of the ways you can do this is you can drag over here an HTTP post and put the Memberium HTTP post here. I recommend you not do that for 2 reasons. First of all, action sets, it's a legacy feature that Infusionsoft has that executes faster than an HTTP post inside of a campaign. And you want this assignment to happen as quickly as possible because you don't want people waiting for their welcome message. The other reason is because that way you don't have HTTP posts spread out among a bunch of different campaigns with that information buried in there. If for some reason you decide not to do a give and remove access, if you use an action set, well, the information for the HTTP post is in one single place. So let's take a look at the action sets in this account, and let's look at exactly how this works. So I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I need to go here, and I'm going to look at the action sets. And here is the give and remove access. It's the same one that I call. So you see that the name matches exactly. And then what am I? Click the wrong button. Now, if you're worried about security, don't worry. This is a test website. There's no reason, if someone wants to steal this, they can go right ahead and do it. So this is a string that comes up and creates a user in the WordPress site, and it fills the password into the contact records password field. Now, we recommend that you always store the password in a custom field. Do not use the default password field for Infusionsoft. Memberium recommends against it. There are certain instances where things happen with that field that don't happen if you're using a custom field. It'll save you some debugging doing it this way. So where do I get this string? Well, first of all, if I log into my Memberium account and I check content protection, in here, under logins, you'll see that there's the field. So we stored in an LJ Memberium password field. If I look at one of the contacts in this account, I'll see that under custom fields, there is a field with that name. So it's going to store the password there. So as soon as you run this campaign, it's going to call the action set, and the action set is going to come up and set the password, and it's going to create a user in WordPress. Now, let me show you here where you get that string. So if you go to Memberium settings and you hit this last tab out here, you'll see that there are a bunch of strings that they've put together for you, which really makes life super simple. So there's a password generator example. And it's not really an example. It's the string that you pass on over here. So if you look at that code right there, and we look over here, and we look at this, all I did was copy and paste this exact string over, and now I have the password calling HTTP host that will put the password where I need it. It'll create the user in WordPress. So let's go back to the campaign. It's always good practice to put a wait after you set the password, because what this is doing is it's reaching out to the WordPress site. It's asking Memberium to create a user, and then it's asking Memberium to reach into the contact record in Infusionsoft and assign the password. This is something that usually gets done in a couple seconds, but in case there's any sort of delay, you want to hold off before sending out the welcome message, because the result could be that you send out a welcome message before Memberium has a chance to insert the password in the custom field. So your member is going to get an email with a blank password, and they won't be able to log in. So the next thing that happens is we send out a welcome message. Now, this is the welcome message that contains their login credentials. We're going to talk in another video about the messages that go out whenever you create a new member. For right now, I'm just going to go over technically how this works. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how the auto login link works. But for now, it's like you have to give them the URL where they have to go to log in. Since this is being sent out, a lot of email systems will make a URL out of this. We typically don't make a link, one of these out of it. That's sufficient. This is a merge field. It comes right from here. If you grab it, all you got to do is click on there and you'll get it. This is a merge field that comes out of the custom fields area of the site. There it is for us. So we insert it right there, and that's all you need. Now, a word about the auto login link. If you are in an environment that has a lot of compliance issues, for example, HIPAA compliance, or if you're in the financial services industry, you probably don't want to use an auto login link. The auto login link will work as long as you know the contact ID and the email address of the user, which means if the user changes their password, this link will still work. So if the email gets sent out and it gets sent out to several people by the user, there's no way to really secure that account. So, Memberium makes the statement in their documentation, this is not super secure. However, it's extremely convenient. I know a lot of users that will keep this email around and just click on it every time so they don't have to go and enter their credentials. So it's something to consider. But how do I create this auto login link? It's in the same place as I find the password generator. The one thing is, if you don't find it here, it means that you haven't selected to allow it. So you have to go over to the Memberium settings login page, and you have to go into allow login, and this has to be set to yes. If it's not set to yes, you will not find this string in here. Now, in the Perfect Starter Kit site, you can use this link However, do not pass the your page, because the site knows to use the dashboard as the default. There are reasons why in another configuration you'd want to use this, but for now what you want is just to pass this information without the redirect. So if I go and I check the campaign and I click here, you'll see that this is an exact match for this, including the code. So here's the code, it ends in RTB, lowercase b. If I go over here, you see that it's the same exact code. So once you copy that over, you'll see that you have a completed welcome message, and that's exactly what this campaign does. Final note, if you want to remove access, here's how you remove it. We just remove that tag. There are other ways to do it. I'll explain different options in another video, but for now, that's enough for this.